Hey everyone, welcome to a new video, welcome to my channel. My name is Micah and today is the last video of Everyday May and it's a Q&A. I thought it would be fun to end on that note. I've never done a Q&A before, so this is interesting. And I got a couple of questions on my community tab where I posted the question, and also via my blog I got a couple of questions, so I will just be answering those in this video. So let's just get to it. So question number one, and this is a question that actually pops up a lot in different renditions already on my channel, and that's where I'm from. Some people know that I live in the Netherlands, so if that was your question, where are you from? I'm Dutch, I live in the Netherlands. Some people tend to think that I'm an expat who lives in the Netherlands, it seems, because one of the questions I got was, how did you get to Holland? Well, I got here because I was born and raised here. I live in the Netherlands. I grew up in the Netherlands. I've lived for almost my entire life in the Netherlands. There was just a little spell in college where I spent 6 months on exchange in the US. That's how I picked up most of my accent, you could say, even though most of it has dwindled down through the course of time, because if you're not encountering native speakers a whole lot, then you only hear Dutch people speaking English, and it so my accent is a little bit of a mix of like a lot of different things, I think. And that brings me also to like question number two, because that's then also a question I get a lot, like, hey, where are you from? And if you're not native, like a native speaker, like how did you learn such great English? And you should know that I'm an English teacher. So I do speak English every single day at work. And I have been speaking English every single day of my life ever since I moved out to go to college, because my entire course was in English as well. I already had decent English before that, but I definitely learned a lot in my lifetime, and I think that would warrant actually a different video, because I definitely have a system of like how I taught myself. Like a lot of the English I know is entirely self-taught, even though there were of course language courses as well that I took. Like every grammar rule that I know I learned at school. So yeah. So not a native speaker of English, I'm Dutch, but I do teach English. I think that explains a lot. Another question that I got is, do you have any pets? No, I don't. I'd like to, but I'm just too busy. I'm not home enough to warrant any sort of animal in my house and take care of them. I just would not be able to take care of them properly enough, because especially on work days, I'm out 12, 13 hours in the day. And then once I get home, I usually go to the gym, or I go to dance class, or I go to parties. So it's like, I'm just not home enough to warrant having a pet. It would just be sitting here by itself too much of the time, and it would just be very, very sad, even though I'd like to have one. And the other question that this person asked is, what is your horoscope sign? So my zodiac sign is Cancer. My birthday is on July 6th, in case you were wondering, so that's coming up shortly in a couple of weeks. And yeah, I don't really do much with zodiac, so I don't have any clue what it means to be a Cancer, apart from I'm just me, I guess. And this was an interesting one, because someone asked, how many palettes do you have? So last night I decided to give them a count. I don't really count my palettes. I thought I was hoping to be somewhere in like the 120 to 150 range, but it's more around the 175 mark. So that was a little bit more than I had expected. But I do have to say that I do count everything larger than a single as a palette. So I counted the palettes that have single shadows in. I counted like little quads, quints, duos. I count everything, and I think if I were to take those out of the equation, then it definitely would be more around like the 140, 150 mark. So I do think that I'm around that mark somewhere if you count just like things that are sold as an eyeshadow palette, but I tend to count a little bit more than that as part of my eyeshadow palette collection. So yeah, 175, so that is quite a bit. And someone left a comment on my Juvia's Place collection video saying, like, this is not very sustainable. I can see it brings you joy, but it's just not really clever in terms of like environment. And I'm very well aware of that. There are just a lot of other things that I try to do my bit for the environment. Buying makeup palettes is not one of them, and I'm very well aware of that. Another question I got is, what made you want to become a teacher? So linking to my first answer right there. I already knew that I either wanted to become a journalist or a teacher when I was 14. It was between those two things. I tried out both of them when I was a college student. I had some side jobs, being like writing articles for the university paper, as well as a side job working as a teacher of Dutch as a second language while I was doing my master's degree. And that just really gave me an idea of what I might like to do. For the journalism thing, I also did an internship at a Dutch TV station for like a summer, and I just figured out that when I teach, something clicks. It's just something that comes natural to me. It's something I really enjoy doing. Seeing the spark in someone's eyes when they get it, that's something you just live for. And truth be told, like, you do have to be a little bit of an idealist, I think, to be a teacher. And I definitely am. So it really suits my personality, and it really suits who I am. And that's why me and teaching are we're just a really, really good combination. Another question that was asked by this person is, if there was only one book you could take to a desert island, what would it be? Ooh, I didn't give these questions a whole lot of thought before I sat down to film this. One book. Can it be a series? Because then I would bring Harry Potter. Because Harry Potter is like, I can reread that into oblivion. If it can be a series, then I would bring that. Just one book? The first thing that pops into my head is Catcher in the Rye, but I don't think I'd want to have just that book, because that would be a bit depressing. It is one of my most reread books in my entire book collection, though. It's one of my favorites. I'm not sure. One book is very little. So I hope it can be a series. And then it would definitely be Harry Potter, because Harry Potter is very significant in my English language journey. So it holds a lot of sentiments for me. And this person also asked what my favorite eyeshadow palette is. And my favorite eyeshadow palette, ooh, again, just one choice. I have several, because, you know, I have 175 eyeshadow palettes. So then you do tend to have like a top 5. So my ultimate top favorite, ooh, is it still Urban Decay Naked 3? Or Naked 2? I've been using Naked 2 a lot this year, and I'm really enjoying that. Like a neutral toned eyeshadow palette for sure. But I also really like the ColourPop palette that I built myself. And I also really like my Lorac Pro 3. And the Too Faced Chocolate Bonbons. ABH Subculture, that's also one of my favorites. I can't choose. You're making me do something very, very difficult here. I can't choose. I would definitely want to have something colorful in there too, because now it seems like I only like neutrals, but I like so many. Juvia's Place the Magic, then maybe? Because it has a bit of everything. It's got neutrals, it's got colors, it's got cool tones, it's got warm tones. Yes, Juvia's Place the Magic palette. Why did I forget about that? I love that palette. I don't know. I was also asked, how did you get interested in makeup? What was the goal initially? To look prettier, to look more like a grown-up, to be more popular, to play with colors, express yourself creatively. What was your first inspiration who was your first inspiration when it comes to makeup? So my makeup journey is a little bit out of the ordinary for most people. I didn't start wearing makeup until well into my 20s. I didn't start wearing makeup like for real when I got to work. And this whole like journey of what you see me making videos on definitely started then. I was someone who was a complete tomboy growing up. So I had no interest wearing makeup when I was a teenager, just not. I just wasn't down. But I definitely started wearing makeup when I got to like my first real full-time teaching job. When I got that, I had 6 a.m., 5:30 a.m. wake-up calls, and that was rough because I'm a night owl. So I definitely needed a little bit of concealer. And it was actually one of my colleagues at that job who suddenly showed up to work wearing eyeshadow. And I was always someone who was a little bit against makeup because I was like, you're pretty as you are. It's something you don't need. I definitely felt I didn't need it. And she said that she had started wearing makeup because she wanted to look more awake. And that's definitely something that I then started noticing as well about myself if I experimented with the little makeup that I did have, that it opened my complexion a bit more. I looked fresher. I just looked a little bit more alive and a little bit more like myself. So for me, makeup is really a way of like showing the best version of myself. I don't do it to look prettier, even though now that I'm getting older, I definitely have a little bit more of an uneven skin tone that I like covering up just a little bit. But it's definitely never been to be popular, to be pretty. And then the other part of this question was, who was your first inspiration when it comes to makeup? So I was wearing makeup until I started doing makeup like more seriously. And it was definitely like my mom and my grandma. My grandma was a complete like beauty nerd. Like she would like curl her hair and she was always about making herself look pretty. And when I was a kid, she was the one who really got me into nail polish. Like when I was a teenager, nail polish was definitely my jam. And that's all her. Like my grandma, when I was a teenager, I didn't know what eyeshadow colors to wear. So I mostly wore green because that was what my mom wore. And I definitely, because I was such a tomboy, my friends sometimes had fun. When we would go clubbing, they were like, we want to do your makeup. And so my friends were definitely also an influence in that as well, because the only reason why I wore makeup was when we would go to clubs and I would just do eyeshadow. Like eyeshadow has been my jam even from before I really got into makeup. And it was mainly due to some of my friends who were like, we want to make you up for prom. Like that was pretty much how that happened. And then another question this person asks is, do your friends and family watch your videos and do they ever mention them? For example, by saying you could have done this or that better, or by making jokes about something you said or did in a video. Actually, I think my mom kind of keeps up with everything I do online. But the only video that I know she really watched was my London vlog. And then she said, yeah, the video, like the music was a bit louder than your voice. So sometimes people do that, but actually I'm usually like someone will throw it into like casual conversation. Like a colleague of mine was like, yeah, I follow your blog. And I was like, okay. It never really comes up in conversation. Actually, I got started with blogging and YouTube talking about things that I couldn't talk about with my friends and family. So this whole journey started because I had other things to talk about that I didn't have anybody else to talk about with. So I don't know many people in my day-to-day life who love makeup the way I do. So that's one of the reasons why all of this got started to begin with. So it's not something that really comes up a lot in conversations, I have to say. Then there were some more questions that came in a little bit later. What do you think about skincare and what do you use and where do you buy it? Well, I just did a skincare routine video last week, so I will make sure to link that in the eye above so you can have a look. What I think about skincare, I think it's very important by now. And when I was like until well into my like mid-20s, I really didn't care about skincare. My skin was always pretty good. I never had any acne or anything like that as a teenager. Of course I had zits, but nothing like cystic or anything like that. I have more dry skin to begin with anyway, but as I got older, I definitely started noticing a couple of things that I wanted to change about my skin. I have a lot of milia, a lot of texture in my cheeks, and that is how I got into skincare, trying to see if I could do anything about that. I like using a mix of more affordable and more high-end stuff. The Body Shop is one of my favorite shops to go to for skincare. It's my OG. Was the first, like the aloe vera line that they do was the first line of skincare I found that worked on my sensitive skin, and I just keep going back to them. Like whenever they launch something new, whenever I go into the Body Shop store, I will check out what they have skincare wise, and especially if they have one of their 3 for 2 deals on, I tend to pick up a few things. I always have a couple of backups of my favorites that I keep around. The Body Shop is definitely my favorite skincare brand, and they're quite affordable. Another question, who are your biggest style inspirations? I don't really have any. Like, I don't follow bloggers, YouTubers, Instagrammers, celebrities to go like, oh, I want to recreate their outfits. I do watch fashion YouTubers to sort of see what's out there, what's trendy, what is like cool. But then I will, for instance, see like one item that they've bought or that they are trying on in one of their videos, and I go like, I want to have that because I know it will fit my aesthetic. And my aesthetic is all over the place. I can go super retro 60s mod style one day and go like 19s grunge the next. Like, I just really like playing around with outfits and with fashion. I have always had a very individual sense of style my entire life. When I was a teenager, when I was in my 20s, and now again as well. It changes, it fluctuates. There are different things I like in different decades, in different areas of my life, you could say. Like different ages, I tend to like different things, but overall, I really enjoy playing around with fashion, with what I wear, and and I enjoy putting outfits together. It's just something that I really enjoy doing. And then another question that someone here on YouTube asked is a song you currently have on repeat. I don't put songs on repeat ever. If I put a song on repeat, it's like that happens maybe once a year, because I just listen to a boatload of music, like so much that I don't really put stuff on repeat because it would just be boring to me personally. I really like variety. I really like having just a grand old playlist that I can shuffle and then just listen to that over and over and over. And that's how I tend to listen to music. So on my blog, RetroD asks, I don't want to be rude, but I was wondering if you purchase all your makeup or get samples. I'd be broke if I bought all the makeup I want. I think you do a fantastic job reviewing things and love your videos. So yeah, thanks for that lovely comment as well. So I did a video about budgeting for makeup purchases a couple of weeks ago, so I'll make sure to link that in the eye. And as it says in my disclaimer at the bottom of my description box, I buy everything myself. Almost everything you see is bought. I haven't received PR in about a year and a half, and that's because I found PR very stressful, because it made me like, I barely had time to try the product before the content had to go out. And with a busy job like myself, teaching, I just felt I couldn't do that. So I want to take my time reviewing products and really try them out. I can buy something today and not review it until a year from now, because that's just the way I roll. So a lot of the reviews you see going live, especially on my blog, those products I have sometimes had 6+ months. And so I really space out my purchases so I don't go broke. I keep a running wish list. So I just have a wish list on my computer and I add things on if I see something on Instagram that's about to be released, and I don't buy all the new latest and greatest stuff because it's just not feasible. My bank account would not like that. I tend to hold out on makeup purchases. That sometimes means I miss out on limited edition stuff. But then again, I don't really want to do too much limited edition stuff because again, that's very much time sensitive. So I try to take decisions based on what I like. And then in a few months time, like there's a palette that's been on my wish list since December and I still haven't bought it. Like it can take me months until I purchase something that's on my wish list. And yeah, there's just a couple of things that, you know, once a year I will buy myself a Charlotte Tilbury lipstick, for instance, but I still have one on my wish list. Do I have any sort of need to purchase it straight away? No, I don't. So I definitely try to space it out and don't blow all of my money on makeup because there are so many other things that I like to do. I like to read, I like to go to concerts, I like to dance, I like to go to the gym, I like to see my friends and family. So I also need money for that. So there's only so much money you can spend on makeup in a given month, I think. So that's why I definitely try to space out purchases and try to be a little bit smart about it. That's pretty much it. Those were all of the questions that I got and that I wanted to answer in this Q&A. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. I also hope you really enjoyed Everyday May. I got lots of great comments, and so you seem to really enjoy it. And I was really liking seeing all of your lovely comments too. So I really enjoyed myself too. Just to make sure that we are all on the same page here, this weekend there will not be a video, but I will be back with a new video on Tuesday, and that's when my usual 3-day-a-week schedule comes in. So 3 videos a week again, starting Tuesday. So I hope to see you in my next video. Thank you very much for watching. Bye!